One of the cool things about these agents, and in particular the development agent, is we're building in the ability for you to be able to set those goals. The same way you would for a human that is on your team, you can set goals and say, hey, can you reach these goals? And help guide it to reach those goals. It'll be smart enough to do it itself, but it also, can take your lead and go and say, hey, here are the 3 steps I want you to do. Great, I'll go do it. And be able to then report back as it's seeing results.
Welcome back to the Microsoft Tech Innovators Spotlight podcast. I'm your host, Chad Merck, and we're excited to have the head of AI growth from Blackbaud on with us today. But first, as always, let me introduce my co-host today. It's my good friend, Mark Waddell. Mark, welcome to the show.
Excited to be here and work closely with Paul in supporting the Azure platform at Blackbaud.
And Paul, thanks for joining us. You're the head of AI growth at Blackbaud. Thank you so much for making the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me. Excited to chat.
So for those that don't know Blackbaud, they're a software company that provides software for nonprofits, educational institutions, and organizations focused on social good. Paul, your background is more on the big tech side, where you've been with companies serving massive consumer audiences, Amazon, Expedia, Glassdoor. What are some of the principles from that have translated well to social impact?
It's a great question, Chad. I think things start with customer obsession. Really getting to know our customers. One of the first things I did when I joined the company is, this is new customers. I've never worked with any of our customers before. I needed to embed myself and really get to know how do higher ed institutions make decisions? How do nonprofits make decisions? There's so many different flavors of nonprofit too. Bigger, smaller, different missions, the way they make decisions. And then diving into some of our K-12 customers. Like, as you mentioned, this is a wide set of customers. Really being able to understand what are their needs, what are their pain points, what do they currently use Blackbaud for? Especially coming in and owning our customer-facing agentic AI products, it was a big space. So like, how do I help these folks? So really diving in and being customer obsessed is one. Two, simplifying down the technology. I think a lot of times, and this is why some of these big tech companies that you mentioned do a really great job and customers love their product, is they're simple to use. They're really integrated. They're built for the customer. There's a lot of testing and learning that goes in to be able to make sure that the customers not just know how to use the product, but that they get value from it. So as we're building, really bringing that along, making sure we're bringing the customer, testing with them, getting rapid feedback, and evolving the product to really match their needs, not building in a silo.
Thanks, Paul. So Blackbaud talks a lot about intelligence for good. What does that mean in practice?
Well, great question, Chad. I think for us, it's building with a commitment for building powerful technology that is built on tons of information. We have our 45 years of industry data and experience that we've been helping our customers along with, building it in a convenient manner that it's fully embedded and integrated into our software. So it's easy to use. It's not creating, making it so that you have to learn new skills or new pieces of technology. It should be really easy to manage. And being really responsible from day one, building our product with security and privacy in mind, and working with the best vendors like you all at Microsoft to make sure that we're delivering a product that is safe and secure, so our customers don't have to worry about that part.
Thanks, Paul. And Mark, I know you had an opportunity to attend Blackbaud's conference, BBCon, where they announced some new features. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, AI obviously was a big part of BBCon this year. You said that AI at Blackbaud is no longer just a feature, but a virtual team member. What mindset shift does that require for organizations that are used to thinking about software as a tool rather than a collaborator?
It's a really great question, Mark. I think AI can be really scary to a lot of folks, and I think there's good reason. There's some bad examples out there of AI making mistakes, or we all look at the news, and there's bad stigma around certain ways that AI is being applied. I think for us, it's been building it out in a way that not just goes in and solves problems that are being unaddressed, by our customers, but are very painful gaps. So in particular, we launched Agents for Good, which is you alluded to, which is our virtual teammates that allow you to be able to do more. The first of which is our development agent. It is designed to focus on mid-tier giving, which currently our organizations do not have people to focus on. This is a gap in their work. And this is a gap that they desperately want filled because it allows them to be able to go and do more for their mission. Facilitate more conversations with donors, be able to execute on something that they can't currently resource. This is amazing bandwidth that they currently did not have. But as you think about these virtual teammates, Mark, it's kind of like onboarding an employee. And we've built it that way. We've designed it that way. As you get started, it's really easy. You go on and you onboard it. You tell the development agent what it's called. You set up its email. You give it onboarding plan of, hey, get started on this over the next couple of weeks. And you manage it like you would an employee. You see the impact coming through. And eventually that employee gets really good at their job and is able to bring in insights for you and your rest of your organization. So they've been really making it easily embedded and removing that stigma of, hey, this is taking anybody's job. No, this is coming in and helping you and going to make it easier for all of the folks in your organization to also learn from it and see what kind of insights it could take it forward.
So, Paul, let's dive into that a little bit. That the term agentic AI, and we're recording this in March of 2026, is used a lot right now, and it can inspire some anxiety, also some opportunity. Let's take the example of the development agent you mentioned. Where do you draw the line on like kind of assistance versus autonomy? Like what actions does the person still own?
So we've built this to be a fully autonomous agent, but we built this with human in the loop the entire way through. As I alluded to earlier, you onboard this agent like an employee at your company. It sits alongside all of your other fundraisers. You're able to manage and see its performance, see what it's doing. And at any point, you have the human in the loop element. So if the agent doesn't know how to answer a question for a donor, it will escalate to their human teammates and make sure to get the right level of feedback. You can set it up to be as autonomous as you want. Ideally, long term, it's able to just go and do the job that you're assigning it to. But we also understand that when you onboard a new teammate, whether it's human or agentic, you need to earn trust. So we're building this with trust in mind. And we're also making sure that, we're not telling you, hey, you paid for the software, go figure it out. We're helping you adopt, even though it's easy. Our customers are onboarding and using these agents within an hour of the time that they start getting provisioned. That's fantastic, but we also know that it's a little scary. So we have a customer success manager on my team who goes in and is fully embedded to make sure that they're onboarding and getting set up and that they understand what they should expect, how they should use it. How do we help them reach their goals? Because no two organizations are the same. It's really being able to build that back into the product as well. So not only identifying it and building that human in the loop, but we've been adding features to make sure that as things come up that people need more control over or less control over. We're building in that optionality. Customers can choose how autonomous these agents are.
That's interesting. You're obviously forging some new ground with these agents, virtual teammates. What it's in, I think a lot of it is also meeting your customers. You mentioned this earlier, where they're at. What has been some of the feedback from customers that have kind of influenced your roadmap as you deployed this?
Well, one of the things we've really learned is, as I mentioned earlier, no two customers are the same. And we knew this going in, but really seeing our early adopters come in and using the products, we learned their goals are constantly shifting. Yeah, mid-tier giving is a piece of it, but let's take the example of a higher education university. You may have a goal around, hey, I have first-time alumni. How do I get them interested in participating in alumni events? It may not be even about fundraising. It may be about just facilitating that relationship. You may also want to facilitate mid-tier giving and say, hey, how do we reach out to these folks that are high likelihood to give that currently we just don't have the bandwidth to facilitate relationships? You may also then have a big alumni event later this year. And it's a lot of bandwidth to facilitate that and make sure you get the right level of attendance. this agent can help. One of the cool things about these agents, and in particular the development agent, is we're building in the ability for you to be able to set those goals. The same way you would for a human that is on your team, you can set goals and say, hey, can you reach these goals? And help guide it to reach those goals. It'll be smart enough to do it itself, but it also, can take your lead and go and say, hey, here are the 3 steps I want you to do. Great, I'll go do it. And be able to then report back as it's seeing results.
Love that.
Chad, just a follow-up question. You've talked about sort of like the human element involved with your transition to leveraging AI. One of the things your team shared was around using behavioral research to influence those agents and how they interact with people. I think that's a super interesting sort of area to explore. Could you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we've been doing research since way before we actually launched this to even our earliest adopters, and we're doing research daily, monthly, weekly to understand how our customers are using it. How do we build this in a safe manner, in a manner that meets them where they are? One of the things that has been really standing out is people are interested in the technology, but that actually is very confusing. What people actually care about is outcomes. Agents are cool. Like, I at BBCon asked an audience, Mark, I think you might have been in the room. We had a panel. How many people have used AI? Everybody raised their hand. We asked people, how many people have used agents? And actually, quite a bit of the room raised their hand. Maybe half the room raised their hands. But there's a difference between agents that help you get a task done and agents that actually go and help you get a job done or help you go and get extended value, is able to make decisions on its own. People care about outcomes. People want to know, like, what outcome is an agent going to help me get to, and how can I support it? How do I build trust with it? I think a lot less about the tech side of it, the stuff that I maybe find more fun and you both find more fun. I think that actually creates a lot of confusion in some cases. They want to know, but they want to know the outcomes. That's the stuff that matters most.
And to your point, we talk a lot about AI and AI agents on this podcast. This is the first time we've had someone focused in on the nonprofit fundraising space. So you mentioned outcomes are what is kind of your North Star guiding light here. But what are some of those signals that matter to you when you're looking to see how effective your agents are for your customers?
It goes down the engagement line. Like, one, at the end of the day, like, people are investing money into these agents, and we want to make sure that they're getting value. So fundraising, funds raised, that's very, very important. I want to make sure that we're contributing significantly more value from that perspective than we're costing for our customers. Like, people want to see that value. But, not every customer is the same. Seeing the uplift that customers are seeing in their donor engagement in some cases, because we have some customers that are saying, hey, I actually don't want to do the agent to do fundraising. Very few of them, but a few of them that are saying, I wanted to focus on just reigniting relationships with donors, inviting them to events, bringing them along the journey, and that's great. And then I'll hand them off to humans. So we're building out that robust set of analytics. Part of this is also, like, the agent needs to be able to report how successful it's being. And if you're an organization that's focused on fundraising, it needs to say, how much did it contribute? How much did it drive? But then it also needs to allow you to see, like, is it doing so the right way? What level of engagement is it seeing? How much lift in engagement is this person creating? In a lot of cases, these are folks that are not currently being reached out to by your organization. So the lift is massive. It goes from 0 communication to 2, 3, 4, whatever that may be, and may end up in an event that they attend, may end up in donor dollars that they put together. But we're creating a lot of flexibility on that reporting, and we're building in a robust set. But back to the research pieces, the way we're building out that level of reporting is going in front of our customers and doing, real testing with them to make sure that what we're building actually matches their need. We're really excited to be building that out in the coming months.
Paul, just a question. As AI becomes more and agents become more embedded directly into the workflow, how does the role of the product leaders change? What skills matter more now than they did before, or even a year ago, in terms of just trying to get the full value out of AI and agents?
Are you referring to fundraisers in this case?
Well, I'm really focused on sort of like as you building out that product roadmap and you're embedding AI and agents into that process. How is it changing the role?
Yeah, so I think those folks are able to focus a lot more on the mission, focus on how they're able to drive that forward. What are the big things that they didn't have time for before?
Mm,
It's creating a lot more space. One of the things we see in the social good space is it's really hard to hire. There's a lot of jobs you need to fill. And generally, there's also a strong amount of turnover. So, keeping people, it may take you a while to educate people on how to do their job. And then by the time you've done that and you've grown out a team, there are people that you now have to replace. And that's quite difficult. So, one, it's allowing you to be able to learn and experiment. It's taking away some of that frustration maybe you had with your job that all of us do. Like there are things none of
sure,
us like to do in our daily job. So
for
AI
sure.
and agents can help us do some of those things, like and make it a little bit easier to focus on the things that are more fun, more interesting, more impactful in our roles. So I think what it's doing is letting you extend. One of the things that we've seen from some of our customers is, the introduction of these agents is helping them think bigger. It's helping them sit down and say, like, well, before I could only focus 6 months out or a year out. Like, what are the things that I can focus on a couple of years out? What are the things that I want to test on in the rest of my environment? Because it's creating this trust and learn culture of, hey, this agent is bringing value to my organization. I'm seeing value. What other things can I create optimizations for?
Sure.
No, thanks, Paul. We have a lot of guests on talking about AI and agents. And it's interesting how often that the people side of this comes up and the focus on employees and what it can enable. And so I think that's always, to me, exciting. I look at your space, you as you're moving ahead, what do you think is going to be the biggest unlock? And you've kind of alluded to it, that it's allowing people to think bigger. So is it around unlocking things on the culture side? Is it more data readiness? Is it more governance? What do you think is like that next unlock for getting more value from for your agents for good?
I'll actually reference last week, I was in Charleston. We did a big customer event and we had a bunch of customers that are not agent users. We talked about AI, we talked about in-product AI, we talked about agents, and we walked them through how these things are embedded in the product. I think the thing that sticks out the most is building products that are really easy to use. The same way, like, we have a pair of AirPods, you take them out of the wrapping, they connect directly to your phone. It should be really easy to use these products. It shouldn't take months of onboarding. It shouldn't take setup fees. It should be relatively easy to get started, and it should be easy to understand how to use it. That's the piece that resonates the most to our customers. When we show our demos and take people through the product, onboarding them, the fact that it takes, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes at most to go through and understand what this product does and do the onboarding steps, and then you can actually go and start assigning, start letting it go and do its job is fantastic. I think that's the piece that really is needed. I think anytime you introduce new technology, the biggest fear is like, well, am I ready? Like, yes, there's a ton that needs to happen from a data readiness perspective, from an AI governance perspective. These organizations need to do prep, and we've seen a lot of impact there as some of these organizations who are deciding to go with our agentic solutions, they're putting together policies that's forcing them to think ahead a little bit more. But at the end of the day, what's really driving their interest and driving like their adoption is really the ease of integration, the ease of being able to go and use a tool you already understand to be able to manage and run AI.
It took me slightly more than 20 minutes to onboard to my role at Microsoft. So that's pretty good. 20 minutes. So I guess, Paul, if you look back, you're looking back, maybe not even 3 years. I was going to say 3 years, but this space moves so fast. Even a year and a half from now, how do you measure whether you're getting it right in terms of agents for good?
I think it all comes down to value. I preach this to our customers and I preach this to our team. And this is maybe the former Amazonian in me. It's having our customers being able to say, wow, I got so much value, whether that's fundraising goals they reached, whether that's being able to say they saved more dogs, whatever they can point back to and say, oh my God, the impact of this is incredible. And the cost was a minuscule part of that. That is, I think, where we all want to be. We want our customers to feel like their missions are being forwarded.
Love that. It's exciting that you're going down this path, and I think so much of the early talk in AI was around assistance, and now as we move to this kind of agentic AI, it's about taking action, it's about producing results and delivering value, which you're doing in this space. So it's pretty exciting to see where you're at. And I think you are leading in this space, and it's always helpful and to me encouraging when we see these examples in the nonprofit space and positive examples of AI. Those are not the ones that always get the headlines. So we appreciate that. Is there anything we didn't ask you about, Paul, that you're excited about and just want to close out with? And I'll give Mark the floor as well after this.
Well, I think we talked a little bit about agentic. I think some of the integration between generative AI and what you mentioned, assistance, and then also the way that connects to agents is a really important piece. I think building AI that works together, understands what's happening, is contextually aware, is really, really important. So we're doing a ton, not just on the agents front with myself, but our product team is razor sharp focused on how do they add AI into our product to make it easier to use, make it easy for you to be able to take actions, get reports, all the different things that you may need to do if you're running a social good company, and they need to connect. These things need to fit in together. I think that's something we've seen a really important message come across, and we're really trying to focus on as well. As I mentioned about embeddedness and making things easy, it needs to be across the board.
Yeah, the only thing I want to add is, as Chad's alluded to, the space is moving so fast, and we fall in love with the latest new technology or what the new model capability. But it was really good to hear your perspective on the importance of value through the process, right? Because I think that can get lost in the process of trying to do something new. Like, are we really hitting the target? And so I think it was refreshing to hear your perspective that you're trying to build a strategy around the value.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I think we've been trying to simplify, like invent and simplify. As you're building new products, they shouldn't necessarily create a ton of cognitive load for you to figure out whether or not you want to even use them. Nonetheless, how to use them. In some cases, we see so many pricing models out there, for example, that confuse me, and I work in tech, especially they will confuse a lot of our customers who are maybe like, I don't know what this does yet. What do you mean I have to pay for X amount of tokens or this kind of specific model? Like, I think we need to meet our customers where they are and simplify. We're trying to do that. And, we're obviously evaluating and looking what's happening in the market with companies that we admire, folks that we really want to look up to in the market, success stories. But at the end of the day, like, how do we make sure our customers are not left behind as we're trying to move the technology forward?
Appreciate that. Yeah, and this is obviously a technology kind of centric podcast conversation, but it's almost every leader we've had on, it's come back to what problem are we solving? Where are we creating value for our customers? Yeah, it's never about the tokens or even the latest AI model. It's about what does that enable and how do we obfuscate all this change on the back end so we can just deliver results for customers. And you guys are doing it in a unique way with your Agents for Good. So I'm excited to see where it goes as you continue to iterate and get feedback from your customers. And just appreciate you sharing your journey with us and look forward to seeing where it goes. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you both for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Microsoft Tech Innovators Spotlight podcast. Subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to stay connected for more episodes where we continue to uncover the stories that are shaping the future of AI and technology.